Kal Kadosh, Boker Or. I wanted to share with you an incredible concept. Why is it that Eliezer specifically checks Rivka Imenu on Chesed? Meaning he's right now going in Parashat Chayei Sarah and looking for a shidduch for Yitzchak. And what's he looking for? Specifically for Chesed. Now the question is why? What was so important about the Chesed? It says Vayana Ara. He comes and he says it's going to be this girl, right? That she's going to come and she's going to give me to drink. She's the one that's going to be for Yitzchak. Ki asita chesed, because you did chesed with me. Rav Eli Lopian comes and he says, how does he do the siman? Right, that she's a balat chesed. He says, how does she know that she has yirat shamayim? How does she know that it's the perfect girl? At the end of the day, maybe she's going to be a good girl, but that's the girl that's supposed to go for Yitzchak. How does he know just because of the chesed? So in order to understand this, we have to understand what it is midat chesed. He says, not every single person that gives is called the chesed. He says, why? It says, Vayiskor Elokim et Abraham, right? Vayishalach et Lot mitoch ha'afecha. Rashi says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu remembers Avraham Avinu, and therefore he sent Lot out of Sodom. Rashi there says, what does he remember? That when he went with Sarah, he kept quiet. Meaning, Paro comes and he wants to take Sarah as a wife. If it would have been the husband, he probably would have killed him. But he comes and he says, it's my sister. And therefore he's going to give him gifts. So Lot starts scratching his head. He starts saying, sister, she's my sister, not your sister. She's your wife. She's my sister. But she kept quiet. Now, if Lot would have said that it's my sister and he's the husband, they would have killed Abraham and Lot would have gotten all the money. Right? But he didn't do that. He kept quiet. So Rav Aaron Kadler comes and he says, the Lot, he comes and he asks, and he says, Lot came and he did achnasat orchim with such a mesirut nefesh, with such everything. So why be'emet wasn't he actually rewarded for that? For achnasat orchim. You have the achnasat orchim. Why isn't he rewarded for that? The Avot Rabbi Natan says, so he says, look, the house has to be open for all four sides. And it speaks about over there also that even, for example, a person like Iyov also had the same thing. So the question is, what's changing here? Why is it that for Lot, he's not getting rewarded for his achnasat orchim? So he comes and he says like this. Rav Desser comes and he explains that there's going to be a difference between chesed and rachmanut. Chesed and mercy. He says, what does that mean? There's a chovot levavot. And he says, do you know that sometimes people will come and they'll do chesed only because they cannot see the tzara, the suffering of their friend. But that's not chesed. That's called rachmanut. A bal chesed is somebody that's going to come and do chesed even if you're not suffering. Even if it has nothing to do with the person that the other person is difficult for them. So he says, and even before the person needs help, he's going to come and he wants to do it. So according to this, now we understand the concept of Lot, Noach, and Iyov. He comes and he says, even though they did chesed, they didn't do chesed for chesed. They did it because they felt bad. Meaning Lot, he comes and he sees that there are people that are coming from outside of town. Nobody wants to invite them. Nobody wants to. So what happens? He comes and he says, you know what? I'm going to bring them into my house. But that's not going to come and that's not going to save him. Right? That's not going to save him. But he says, only an Isha chesed is going to be rewarded for chesed. Not for that. He says, here you have these animals, right? Or whatever it is that's going to come. There, she's going to come and that's a chesed amiti. Why? Because it's not that I feel bad for you. I don't need to feel bad for you. You're a strong guy. Eliezer could come and get the water for himself. The fact that she's coming and she's doing it, it shows that she's a true balat chesed. Because a person that wants to do chesed will look to give the chesed, even if they don't even need it. But they're always looking to do chesed to other people. Nothing to do whether they need it or they don't need the chesed. A person that's only doing chesed because he feels bad for you, that's not about chesed. That's somebody that has mercy, and therefore he's going to come and he's going to do that. And that's why there's going to be a huge difference in this story, whether it's going to be with Rivka and not and with Lot. So he comes and he says that's also explanation. Valachta bidrachav. Valachta bidrachav means that we have to emulate HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Just like HaKadosh Baruch Hu is merciful, we have to be merciful. Just like He's gracious, we have to be gracious. And what does that mean exactly? It says that we have to actually come and copy the difference between chesed and rachamim. Rachamim is mercy. When you want to give it, it's not because of mercy. It's because you want to help. And you want to actually help out. We know Rav Chanan Wasserman used to say on the Pasuk, Sof Davar Hakol Nishma Et Olim Yinav Mitzvah Shmo Ki Zeh Kol Adam, that the Pasuk is talking about Yirat Shamayim is not only a ma'ala in a human being, but it's everything in a human being. Meaning if a person does not have fear of Hashem, they have nothing. Right? That is a human being. The human being is Yirat Shamayim. So according to this, he explains that the Zohar HaKadosh says on the Pasuk, Na'aseh Adam, should we make a human being or not? So he comes and he says that each one has to give something of themselves to the human being. And that's why the human being has all the koach of the chayot, right? Which means that something incredible. HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes. So therefore you had, for example, the Aryeh, right? So the Aryeh came and he wanted to give part of himself. The Nachash, right? Each one got an attribute of the animals inside the human being. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and he says, there's a Yirat Shamayim. What is the Yirat Shamayim? He comes and he says that he shouldn't be like a Chayat Torefet. He should be like a human being. Right? What does that mean? He says that a person has to work upon themselves to take the best from themselves. That's why the Gemara says, even if the Torah wasn't given, we would have been able to learn from the animals, right? All the midot. A cat is very modest. It doesn't do its necessities in public, right? The rooster he first appeases and then he goes with his mate. Each one we would have learned gezel from a nimala, from the ant. The ant, the second that he starts taking part of the food, another ant will not come and steal it from it, and so on and so on. So we would have learned from every single animal the attributes, how to behave. Because at the end of the day, that's what they were here for. So we have to learn from them. And each one has the positives that we should have learned. So he comes and he says, so when we're talking about now the entire concept, Eliezer, he made a siman for himself, a midat chesed, not a yirat shamayim. He says because the way to see if a person is yirat shamayim be'emet is only if he really sees that he loves to do chesed. Because if he comes and he wants to do chesed, that's the highest level in the yirat shamayim, that he wants to come and he wants to go above his bad attributes. So therefore, when he comes and he says, "Look what a balat chesed she is," he knows that she has yirat shamayim automatically. She has yirat shamayim, but it's not that she just wants to do because she feels bad. But that's not chesed. That's mercy. She wants to do good, but she wants to. He knows such a person for sure is going to go up above and beyond, and therefore that's why he does it. So now we're just going to speak about the entire concept of ma'alat, achnasat orchim and chesed. When we're talking about the greatness of inviting people over and chesed and everything, it says like this: Amar Rabbi Yosef ben Kisma, right? It says in Rabbi Yochanan, name of Yosef ben Kisma, Gedola legima shirchika shte mishpachot miYisrael. Do you know? Look at this: the fact that you have food that it came and it's distanced two families from Israel. What does that mean? It says we're talking about, we know that even though he came and he did chesed, right, with Lot, Lot's children didn't do chesed with us. Because Lot's children, which are Ammon and Moav, they didn't give us food and water. And because of that, Ammon and Moav cannot come into Klal Yisrael. Okay, so he comes and he says, this is the concept, right, of the greatness of what it is, chesed. When a person realizes, right, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to come, and he's always going to try to make sure that we're always giving to each other, that is the purpose of this world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a giver. We have to emulate HaKadosh Baruch Hu also in order to give. And when we emulate HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we give, we are actually fulfilling the role of the creation. We are fulfilling what Hashem wanted in this creation. And that's why he made everything, whether it's going to be marriage, whether it's going to be having children. And you're always, it's an education in order for us to start getting accustomed to giving and to giving and to giving and to giving. Even though when a person is born, he's only taking, that's just in order to enhance his parents and everyone else. But then afterwards, the second that he becomes already independent, now it's his turn to give back. And that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, and we should always be able to give, right? To give to others. That is Midat HaChesed, not because we are merciful on them, but because we want to give. We want to be Baalei Chesed. And that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted from every single human being.